very highly respected, Johns Hopkins and all this. And it turns out that he got pancreatic cancer.
Oh.
And so he literally saved himself by learning the different energies. And so I just happened to read this book after my second cancer surgery, and it saved my life because this changed everything. I started working with energy.
So did you do his dream work then?
Oh, he was doing all kinds of things. He came to Maui many, many times.
Well, I know. I've done everything with him, so that's why I was curious what you did.
Oh, he was doing energy. He was doing energy work.
No, energy work was always part of something else.
Well, I don't remember. That was like 1987 or something. Anyway, then Hands of Light. Barbara Brennan wrote this book, I think, in 1986 or 87, and I read it in 1988. And she was a NASA physicist, quantum physicist, and she was one of the first people in the United States to set up a school.
Yes.
In New York. It was very expensive.
Extremely expensive.
It was called the School of Healing Science. And so after I read this book, or part of it, I could see the auras of plants. So she teaches you how to see the auras of plants, which I thought was very interesting.
And that was Joy, who I didn't hear the last name.
Joy, B-R-U-G-H.
Oh, no, sorry.
Barbara Ann Brennan.
Than's you, Brennan.
She's just an amazing healer. Actually, I've never finished the whole book, which is kind of funny. Then, of course, I was in Hawaii. And so I got very interested in the kahuna people because they just kept appearing in my life. And I studied with a kahuna named Bill Aki for about 3 years. And this, I don't even know if you can get this anymore, but this is a woman went to Daddy Bray. He was in Big Island. And he was one of the old kahunas. And she wrote down as much as she could from him. And this is so deep. This book, it took me about 6 months to assimilate because it was such deep stuff. And then here's another shaman. He's a shaman, but he's also a kahuna. Serge King, he lives in Kauai, and I know him.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word kahuna means.
Kahunas are masters. And you can be a kahuna canoe builder, you can be a kahuna healer, you can be a kahuna of all kinds of levels. But the Hawaiian kahunas are very similar to the yogis. They're extremely advanced. So I was very fortunate to get involved with those people. And then I don't know if you've ever seen this book. This is Alex Gray.
He's great.
Yeah.
Alex Gray was the grandson of the man who wrote Gray's Anatomy for medicine. And he is a medical illustrator.
Oh, wow.
But he is also showing the human energy field. I've never seen anybody who can put all of us together into one thing. And this is what we are. This is our energy body. And here are chakras, which correspond to the major ganglia, the big nerve centers that come together. And then there are actually 7 layers of our energy field. And our energy field is usually out about here, about where your hand can reach. And then up here, he doesn't have this. Well, he has the crown chakra. But up here is the transpersonal point. This is where you hook into the universe. So I do a lot of work here when as I'm finishing. But he has some beautiful pictures. And what I love is, I'll show you, he does all the systems, you know, the circulatory and the muscles and everything that you can imagine, the viscera and everything.
Wow.
But this to me is what I really love, is it kind of helps us to visualize. This is the psychic energy system over here. And then this is called the spiritual energy system, and you can see how we're starting to connect. See this? We're coming up to the transpersonal point, and we're on the edges of the energy field. And then he calls this the universal mind lattice. And I think this is where, in my mind, this is where we become oneness with all things. Ooh, that feels good. Anyway, I just worship this man. I think he's a fabulous person, and he helps me to show other people.
What's the title of that again?
The Sacred Mirrors.
Mirrors, that's what it said.
Sacred Mirrors by Alex Gray. So I just wanted to share these books with you because they are so profound. And then I wanted to share my own energy field, with you.
Oh, wow.
This was done March the 11th.
Oh,
You can see my face in there,
Yeah.
so that's very fun.
Oh, wow.
There's me, and
With
that's
the camera that showed?
there's
Is it
people,
a
Curly and
special
energy.
camera?
people who can take the pictures
Yeah.
of energy fields,
See, this
and
is neat.
this was just done in March.
Wow.
Close my eyes or leave it.
So I thought
Isn't
that
that weird?
isn't that amazing that it's like almost like in a cross.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that because
Yeah.
that kind of shows you that yes, it's not so
Oh, yeah. Curling
illustrative.
did they do curling?
Kirlian, the
Kirlian.
Russians did Kirlian
Long ago.
photography many years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think last century or something. And then I wanted to show you, this is the Healing Touch book that the Holistic Nurses Association got together. They found Janet Mintgen, who was a Nurse Corps officer in the Army, and she was one of the, Barbara Brennan was in New York, and then she was in Colorado. And she got connected with the Holistic Nurses Association, and she'd been doing her work for about 10 years, and they were just blown away. She was a nurse in the Army, you know, and she was an officer nurse. Anyway, so they started recording all of her stuff, and they put the Healing Touch text together, and it's fascinating because it shows every little thing to do. And I was so fortunate. Janet Mintgen used to come to Hawaii a lot, and she and Ann Day were the two prime movers of the whole Healing Touch school and the education that's gone worldwide. And I got to know her very well, and so I worked with Janet Mintgen very, very often. And what was so great was that right before she passed away, she came to Hawaii, and all of us got together, and we worked on her. So it was really moving. But anyway, this is a marvelous book. So this is what we study, and this is, we have all of our coursework, which is done on weekends, and there are 5 different levels, and then you have a year's mentorship under a nurse. And in those days, I got my certification through the Holistic Nurses Association, so that's why Healing Touch is accepted in hospitals, clinics,
Yes.
because it is energy work like Reiki or Qigong or whatever, you know.
Right. We've worked with the same folks in Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turns out Ann Day was my mentor. So Ann Day was like second in command in the whole national movement. So I was very fortunate to have her. And then she was the one who said, Zilla, go to the hospital and start a Healing Touch program. I was like, you know, that was pretty scary. So anyway, I wanted to show you this. This is my intake form, which is quite long. We work with, we don't just do one SUD level, we do 3. Physical, energy, pain, stress, and then any other. So we have 3 those SUD levels, and then at the end we have another set of SUD levels that we check, so that the patient or client can really see the tremendous changes. And then here are all the modalities we use. There's a huge list of these. And then we do the scan of the body beforehand and the scan of the body after. And then I record this. I have all kinds of ways, you know, static or whatever, but I usually draw that. I don't say it, what it is. And then we do a very long, detailed thing. We work with personal stress, stress reduction, religious, spiritual practice. We want to identify what that is so that we don't cross the line with anybody. Meditation, sleeping habits, exercise, eating, current health providers, current medications, significant past medical history, and the reason for the appointment. So we try to really get in and see what the issues are, which I would do with you this morning, but we don't really have time. However, when I scan your body, which we can do right now, if you would like to stand up and come over here. Now you have this metal thing on. Can you take that metal thing off?
Sure. You want me to take
You
my
don't mind?
earrings off?
No, earrings are good.
Zilla, approximately how long do you usually, an average session time would run?
Well, here I try to do a 2-hour thing because I throw in EFT and a bunch of other things, and I'm doing the Z point at the end as a closure because it's like you're turning. You do all this stuff,
Right.
and it's all, a lot of it's cognitive and hypnotic, but then you come to the end and you're turning whatever's left over that you haven't addressed, you're turning it over to the subconscious.
Right.
So that's a perfect, the Z point is a perfect closure because it gives you, it gives more action later that can continue for them because the subconscious can still process or can process whatever was done here plus. So that, I agree with you, the Z point's phenomenal. Okay, so let's just stand right here. And let me just center myself.
Get the energy field there.
Okay.
I'll just scoot back. Thanks, Lisa.
Cinch your energy really close, right? Have a little bit of static coming off there. Have you had a headache recently? Sinus?
Sinus.
Oh, sinus?
A lot of allergies.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that, I think. Yeah, even out here. I'm feeling something coming off that elbow. Did you ever hurt that elbow, or do you have any arthritis, or you can remember? Okay. I'm just feeling a lot of stress right here.
Yeah.
Fancy that. No, I really do. It's just like there's a whole bank of just stress right here.
Can
Okay.
you see it? Are you using your...
Okay, stress in here too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay, turn around. It's pretty clear. So just get back. Sometimes the energy's a little bit something there. You're pretty tingly all the way down from about here to here, so I take that, when it's that general, I take that to be stress. Because usually if there's something wrong, something will really pop out. And you've just got a whole sheath or a whole cocoon of stress around you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Break my cocoon.
Yes, I will. Okay. So is this too tall or do I need a stool? Because I do have a
No,
stool.
good.
You can get up there.
I'm good. Watch the table fall over.
No,
No,
this has held, here, let me put this down more gently. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so let's turn on some music. And of course, I've taken a big intake on her, and I know all of her difficulties and situations, and I've found out about her life. And yeah. How's that? Is that good sound?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In Reiki, they start at the head. We don't do that. We start at the feet because we're trying to open up the body. I'm going to pull on you just a little bit just so you relax. How does that feel?
Good.
I thought so. Okay. So we start sending through the bottom of the feet. And you just take a nice big deep breath. Now, if I were in my office, the lights would be out. And I would start talking her through a relaxation. So you would just take a nice big deep breath and just let go of everything. Another big deep breath. And just totally let go. Absolutely let go. Everything. Relax your buttocks, your jaw. Relax your hands. Take another big deep breath, and this time breathe in white light into your lungs. And as you breathe out, I want you to breathe out all the gray and all the negativity and all the worry and all the stress. So I would have her do this probably a good 10 to 12 breaths. And I can watch her breathing and watch her reactions. And now I want you to feel the energy that's coming up through my hands into your feet. And I want you to feel this energy moving up through your ankles and your calves and your knees and your hips. And let that energy swirl around in your hip girdle for a while. And a nice spiral feels so good. And then just take a big deep breath. Pull some more energy up into your torso. All around the torso, all the organs are being bathed with healing light. I'm going extremely fast. And I would have been addressing many more things as whatever her issues were,
Oh,
That
it's
would
getting
be
addressed.
That would be addressing those. Okay. Now one more big deep breath. I want you to pull this energy up and down across your shoulders and down your arms and out your fingers like little flashlights. Just shining right out your fingers. Okay, and then one more big deep breath and pull that white light down through the top of your head. This is the celestial light. And let it twirl around your spine. And let my energy that's coming from my hands twirl around in the other direction, like the DNA, the spiral of the DNA going around your spine. And feel how good that feels. It's wonderful. You're really connected to your very core, your DNA, your molecules, your cells, everything. And now I would start moving up the body. Once I get her really full of energy, I start moving up the body. Now in Healing Touch, you would actually go from here to here. But because we have limited time, I would start moving on every joint, because every joint has a chakra. And also there's lots of blockages in joints. Now if she starts to jerk or move or twitch, that means that something is being unblocked. The body will actually move and shift. Especially with really ill people. I was working on a man who was a heart transplant last week. He literally had someone else's heart. And his body was moving almost constantly. It was fascinating to watch. And what was interesting is that I would be working on say, a leg, and the leg would twitch. The rest of the body wouldn't. So you could really see the energy that limb was being affected really tremendously. But in the hospital, for instance, I'm doing double like this because it's quicker. I've also, in my mind, I've turned up, I've amplified the energy flow so that she's really getting, in 20 minutes, she can get like an hour and a half's worth.
And she can handle it.
And she can handle it. But you notice that we're having some rapid eye movement, which is good. That always, I watch breathing, I watch rapid eye, I watch color of the face. I feel what I'm feeling through my hands. So sometimes things can tell me, my hands can tell me, like right now I'm getting a lot of energy running up and down my body, which in my mind I'm pulling stress off. So it's interesting, I think sometimes the knees seem to hold a lot of stress in the body for some reason, and people have a lot of knee problems. So that's what I'm doing. I'm really holding on the knees for a long time. And so now take another big deep breath of white light. Oh, and just let it all go. I'm letting her do that now to let some of that stress off before I move to the hips. And I always say I'm going to touch your hips. Because this is, much more intimate with the body. So I always tell someone that I'm going to touch their hips. Now I'm working on the whole pelvic girdle. Everything, the reproductive system, the pelvis, all the support, the coccyx, all of that. So we're working on that. And also back. A lot of times people have a lot of back problems, and especially this low back. So we're working on low back. And how are you doing? Good. You always check back with the patient or the client. I'm going to touch your tummy. Now we're going to send energy up through the spine all the way out. So I'm sending this way. So here I'm on the sacral and the coccygeal. This is coccygeal. So it's root chakra. So I'm on the sacral. And of course, if we had the time, I would be really measuring the flow. I'm getting a lot of flow, but I would be much more aware. And then sometimes, let's say that she was having some kind of abdominal problem, I would come way out here and do a double hand. And that way, it's sending even more energy. And you always do left over right, because the energy comes in, when you're doing Healing Touch, it comes in through the left and goes out the right. It also comes up from here down. So I'm sending that. And in Reiki, you lose contact with the body. In Healing Touch, we never lose contact with the body. We try to hold the body as much as humanly possible. And here's the solar plexus of all the emotions. Now, if I came to a point, say her solar plexus, and she was having emotional difficulties, I could pull energy off, or I could even unruffle this area, pull energy off. Here's heart chakra. The heart chakra is right in the middle of the breastbone. All the chakras have little sore spots. So if you're looking for your chakra, you can kind of poke around, and you'll find a sore spot. It's just a tiny little spot, but it's a little sensitive, so you know that that's what that is. So we're working here. Now, some modalities do not use the high heart. The thymus gland is right under the high heart, and that's your immune system. It regulates your immune system. So I always work with the thymus. And if you feel like your immune system is down, you can tap on your thymus like that and kind of wake it up, because as we get older, the thymus shrinks. So I'm working on that. And I would do double-handed. I would do all kinds of things. Now we're going to work on the throat. And I like to work on the throat and the brow at the same time. We don't ever touch the throat. In Reiki, you touch the throat, but that's too constricting to people. She's got the brow going. Now I feel that in here, there's the energy in the throat, Linda. The energy is very recessed. So I'm going to send some more. It seems like it's very flat. So does that resonate with you for some reason?
Yeah, when you were down there, I could feel a whole big
thing in your throat.
Yeah.
It wants to clear. Kind of, it's like built up in there. Okay, so I can tell that the throat, and the throat, of course, is also expression. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. Now, I'm not going to lose contact with the body. I'm going to the hands now. We in Healing Touch, this is the most comfortable, wonderful feeling. If you lock thumbs, it feels great. It's just like there's some tenderness there that's hard to believe. So I'm working with the hands, and I'm opening, since she is a healer, I'm opening her hands as if she would be a healer and doing energy work. Because I feel like everybody who's in the healing business, so to speak, is really a healer and is an energy sender, whether they know it or not. Okay, now this hand is going, it's really opening up. It was making little gripping things, gripping. So now I'm going to the wrist, and you see I'm holding both. Going to wrist, going to elbow. Now this elbow, I felt something coming off of it, so I'm really sending energy up and down this arm to somehow let that elbow clear. And then I'm going to pull this out and move to the shoulder. Everybody has problems with shoulders because that's where a lot of stress is held. So we're working on that. And this is called a chakra connection. I do this in many ways. It's not always the same. It just depends on what the patient needs or the client. I have a hard time thinking client because we call them patients everywhere I go. Okay, now I'm putting thumbs down in here because I just feel like I want to send like a kind of a laser beam down either sides of her spine. You feel that? Yeah? I'm sending it kind of, through my thumbs, I'm sending a laser beam, and then I'm also wrapped around her shoulders so that she's getting stuff going down her arms, energy going down her arms, and something going down her spine. Because I'm like kind of teaching her in her body how the energy's moving so that she can use her hands to heal if she wishes. So we're doing that. And we're going to be coming around here. Going to do that thumb lock again, which is so lovely. Come down here, hold. And you don't have to effort. You're not efforting. You're just getting yourself out of the way so that this energy can move through you. This is not my energy. I'm just a functionary. I'm just a channel. I'm just a vehicle.
use a chair when you're doing climbing
Rarely.
that long?
No, rarely, because I just, a lot of times I'll have to spread my legs just to give my back a rest. So we're moving here, we didn't disconnect. And in my mind, I'm opening up this whole channel down her hands so that she can channel energy. Did you feel that jerk? Did you feel it? Yeah.
I had a couple in my legs.
Oh, you did? Yeah. So these blockages are opening up, but especially in her hands, they're moving.
It's helping her throat. Seems to be helping her throat a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so now after I've done all the limbs, I'm going back to the heart, back to the throat. I'm kind of reconnecting with the higher parts. Now this is not a part of healing touch, but it is a part of Reiki. And I just feel like this is such a beautiful, just to cup the jaws and to hold the cheeks. It's such a beautiful feeling to be so tenderly caressed, like you would be a child. So I like to do that. Plus you're working on the temples. And then back to the brow. And then the crown chakra is about 7 inches, and you want to end, you always want to end this process with you being on this side of the body, so the left hand can be out in the transpersonal point, because it's collecting and sending. So the left hand is going to be sending into the right. So here I am at the top of the head, and then I'm going to see where, okay, I'm feeling a lot of static in here, so I'm starting here. And I'm collecting this energy from the universe. So I always have to be standing, I always have to start on that side and come around and then come to here. So that the left hand can receive. And so we're just sending down through there. Then I'm going to move off to the crown, which is about 7 inches above her head. And I'm going to go out to her, to the transpersonal point. I'm going to find where that is. There. And I can feel the energy moving from universe to my hands into the crown of her head. And this, I do a lot of work here when I do a lot of hypnosis here, because I have like visualizations of this beautiful star core that she's connecting with, the center of the universe, and it's going into her star core. And so I do a lot of guided visualization, and also throughout the entire process. And also hypnotherapy also throughout the entire process. Working on specific, now this is called magnetic passes. It used to be called unruffling. But we're just working through the energy field, pulling stress away, pulling any kind of disease or ailment or whatever, plus emotional stuff. So we're just working down the body like you were stroking a big silky cat. You're just pulling, and you're pulling the energy off, and when you pull the energy off, it's not like it's a negative, you're just pulling it off, and it's going to wherever it wants to go in the universe. You don't have to send it to some place, you know. So you can unruffle, and especially anything that was a problem, like if she had just had a surgery or something. There's also another technique, and this one is a very powerful technique with somebody who's really in trauma. You make your hands like a rake, and it takes about 30 seconds to go across the body. I'm going really, really fast. And this is, these are magnetic passes, and you imagine you're feeling your fingers like magnets, and you're pulling whatever is happening off the body. And you can go way up here. You can go in all different levels of the thing. Now, if she had had surgery, say she had had a gallbladder thing, if she had had surgery, what I would do is to go over the area, and very often you'll feel like a cold spot. It's almost like cold air is coming out, and it's an energetic leak, which means it healed physically, but it hasn't healed energetically. So the way we would seal that, to seal a wound, oh, I felt a big jerk there. You come out into the field and you gather the energy, hold, and then come out of the field really fast. And that will seal the wound, and then you come back and you feel over it to see what's going on there. I've had kids come out of comas. Let me see some of the other techniques I wanted to show. Let's see, we did the energetic passes, we did modulating energy, which is what I've been doing this whole time. I showed you the full body connection, magnetic unruffling. If you have a terminally ill person, this is the most beautiful thing. You want, if say they're passing right now, and you're there, and your family's called you in. You start working over the head, and you go to all the points, and what you're doing is you're reaching the universal energy, you're pulling it down, and you're spreading it out over them. And then you go back up, and you reach. It's almost like that universal mind lattice picture that I showed you. And you're doing this over every chakra, and it's very slow, but you're doing it over the whole body. And for someone who's terminally ill, it is amazing. So I would do this throughout the entire body, over every chakra. And I think you do it like 3 times. I've worked with many terminally ill patients, and what is so beautiful is they witness this, and somehow it gives them, it helps them with their grief, because they see that this is a beautiful thing, that death is just another transition. I mean, they're moving, and there have been reports that people don't go into rigor mortis after death. There's all kinds of reports and studies done on this. This is called the chakral spread. So I would do that, and then at the bottom, you pull the energy off, as if you were pulling off a boot, like this. So this would be done with a terminally ill person or a person in transition. And then, this is the ultrasound. Let's say she had a wound here on her arm that had just happened, and it's a gaping wound. This is a thing that knits tissues together, and wounds will actually close. So you're taking the energy that's coming down your arm and you're focusing it like an ultrasound, and you start to knit the energy together like this and move it, especially in animals, because they're not conscious of this kind of thing. The wound will close up. It's very amazing. There's another technique called the laser. Let's say she had a tooth problem. I can send the energy like a point of light, and just into that area. You hold it for just a second. You don't do it for very long, but that would be that one. There's also a thing called mind clearing, which is kind of like you put the fingers in different positions on the head. So that's really good for any kind of trauma. And then there's a pain drain, which is very important. Let's say that she hurt her knee. Let's see, what knee did I feel something? I felt it over here. If she has a knee problem, well, no, I better get over it. If she has a knee problem and she's had surgery on her knee, you put your hand down to where the wound is, and then you bend over, and you're going, oh wait, I gotta do left to right. Sorry about my back. It's coming in through here, going out, and you siphon it off, and literally pump the hand and make the pain come out. And you can feel the pain. You don't feel it as pain, you just feel it as sensation. It could be hot or something. And as it comes off the fingers, you can actually feel the pain drain and come out. It's a very interesting technique. So that's a really good one. And then I'm going to do one more, and that is the lymphatic drain. This is, I think Janet Mintkin did this one. But what you do, you're scooping all through the lymph areas. There are lymph areas coming here. So you would scoop. There's lymph here. So you would come scooping. So wherever the lymph is collected, or like here there's lymph glands. So you would pull the energy off, and there's a technique to do that. It's quite a long technique, so I won't go into that, but it drains the lymph system, and it's very, very powerful. So anyway, that's, there's many more to do, but I want to pay attention to Linda. So, so Linda, take another big deep breath. I want you to breathe in a rainbow. Oh, just feel how lovely that is. And all this while I would have been talking to her about balance, harmony, all the, I would be giving a lot of different suggestions. Okay. Now, I want you to very gently take a big deep breath, and I want you to gently come back into your body. Very gently come back into your body. You can start to feel the weight of your body on the table. You can exhale. Very gently come back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Wiggle your toes. And your toes. Just coming back in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take a big deep breath. And open your eyes. Okay. And then I like to stay with them for a little while, just to let everything kind of congeal. Because she went really out. You could see how long it took for her to wiggle her toes.
Right.
So she's back now. So how was that?
Good. I felt on that last